Hello, welcome to Masters Academy Talk Show Episode 4, and I am joined by our guests MANdrewSKI and Apples.
What's up, man? This is MANdrewSKI.
Hey, Apple's here.
All right, so recently we had a interesting tournament. We had a 2v2 tournament. Um, it was, I don't know if we saw anything too groundbreaking in the meta, but it was a lot of new faces, so that was fun to watch, and you guys can go check that out in the um, King Puff Cup VODs. They still have that available. But recently, we just had a huge announcement from a dev blog. I think hopefully everybody watched. And so I think the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go over this balance blog. There are 22 balance changes. We get a new
Wow.
conquest season, and there is also a new feature for reporting bugs as well as reporting players. So those are all the big changes coming on Wednesday. And I think we should start with the elephant in the room is the changes to Morelia.
Okay,
Um,
yeah, I'm curious. I'm rubbing my hands together.
all right, so three changes to Morelia here. The basic attack range was reduced from 12 to 10. The perk 2, Spirits, only gives 2 spirits instead of 3. And then the perk 3 costs 8 mana from 6 mana. And those are the official changes towards Morelia. And then there was a change to spirits as well that's relevant, is that spirits will only give 100 health to air units instead of 200. So the big question is this enough of a nerf to take Morelia out of the best spot of like the official best master in the game?
That's really interesting. I like how they didn't try to smash her to pieces,
Mm-hmm.
because they definitely could. There's a lot of problems in a lot of games where it's just like, oh, this card's OP, oh, this is OP, so let's just, and everybody hates it, so let's just take it out of the game. You know, they're going a bit incremental with it. That being said, there is quite a bit of changes to her. The range change is really significant, but I think that the spirit change is the big one there, at least in my opinion. That's going to be a crazy change, especially considering the air,
Well,
the fact that it's only going to give 100 life to air.
mm-hmm. I think one of the big meta decks that we saw with Morelia was using Empowered Soul Stealer and Lone Wolf, which both of those
Yeah.
cards have some upcoming changes that I'll mention a little bit. But it seems that we're shifting away from that deck with the spirit changes, as well as the changes to those to units. What I hope that we see with Morelia, I've talked about this before, is that currently everyone just plays Morelia around spirits, and where she
Yeah.
has 4 different options, and some of them are being underutilized.
Oh yeah. In fact, I have this combo deck where I brought back the bats brutes just in between perk one and perk two. I have
Mm-hmm.
this little window where my bats cost three, which allows me to activate the Gorok brutes.
Mm-hmm.
And in between perk two and three, I have infiltration as my activator for brutes, if I so choose.
Mm-hmm.
But a two cost bats is still pretty beastly with the rest of the deck.
Yeah.
Hopefully they don't have defensive chopper, blastmancer,
Mm-hmm.
spirit mancer, you know. But I mean, it was a silly deck that I was playing
Yeah.
around with, and I did climb pretty far with it.
Yeah, I think I
Yeah,
faced that as well. Apples,
yeah,
have
it
you
was it was a lot of
gotten
fun.
much chance to experiment with Morelia prior to these upcoming nerfs?
Uh, I've played around her a little bit. I haven't played as much the past couple weeks, but
Mm-hmm.
I've played a little and seen a lot of Morelia. She's in every game,
Yeah.
and I think that I agree with Drew a lot, right? That they're doing the right thing by not just taking her and trying to completely kill her and
Mm-hmm.
and throw her in the bin, but I don't know if it's gonna I think she's still gonna be really good. I don't think this is enough to knock her down too far.
Yeah,
Especially,
sorry.
sorry, go ahead.
I wonder how this is going to affect tournament play with her. So, as we saw in the last KPC, she was, I think, used by almost everybody, and she was almost also a permaban across the board.
Yeah, I mean, she might still be the best late game. I don't know. Milloween might take the crown
Mm-hmm.
with the best Milloween. I'm not sure how much the effects is going to be had on the costing 8 instead of 6.
Mm-hmm.
the HP on that it's at certain times, if you aren't prepared for it, feels infinite. Where you're just like, well, I lost now. Okay. Like, oh yeah, I totally forgot. She also has a dragon. Like you're so focused on the board state, you totally forget to look at the XP, and then all of a sudden there's a dragon, and you're just like, man, I really shouldn't have played Fire Imp that like 2 cards ago. I
Yeah.
should have saved it, or whatever.
I think one of the worst feelings is when you burn your, or like you misplay the Horde Combust when you're running that in a deck and you have it get burned by the dragon's aura coming down, or the Nivir Breath part of it. It's just like,
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that
And,
for
well,
real feels bad.
and now everybody seems to be running Black Hole and Grandmaster, so that combo with the Scrat Horde and Combustion just seems so frustrating to use for me sometimes, especially against like decks that already are going to run Black Hole anyways. Like, I don't know if you've ever played against JF's Milloween recently, but he's
uh,
running 2 Black Holes, and it was just so frustrating.
I actually watched that game, or I was watching your stream when you played against
Oh
that.
no,
Um,
no. I should have won that game. I totally screwed up. I kept trying to use my Black Hole in a cheeky way, where I should have just protected my Arcane Golems from his Magma Storm, and I should have
mhm,
just never used it for anything but that.
yeah.
I shouldn't have lost. I shouldn't have lost. There was no excuse.
Um,
But
Yeah.
anyways, yeah.
so back to balance changes. There are quite a few other ones that. Oh, hold on. Just the okay. So let's just go down the line. At the other big master change is APEP here. His first and third perk can now only give minions.
Oh, that's. I actually really like that. I'm gonna miss Shock Rock, but at the same time, always having a free bridge grab is gonna be really neat
Yeah.
after
I,
that
I
first perk.
I went through earlier after I saw that change, and I was looking at the list of spells that you could get that you can't now. And there are a few that I'm gonna miss for sure, right? Like Black Hole, and of course Bats was always like a hey, I just kind of won probably.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Oh,
But
wait. Oh, sorry.
but the consistency overall of getting minions for bridge grabs, and like you can just always get that value, right? So I think that's gonna be really nice to try to make him more consistent.
Well, one of the
Yes.
things I'm kind of concerned with APEP getting these changes is we saw Sunless play a lot of APEP in the tournament scene as probably his go-to master, and I think a lot of people have been frustrated by that future present quick cycle APEP, and that deck is only looking to get a minion out of its perk 2 and 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, whenever I play, I generally look. Do you know? So it's not just spells it's getting rid of. You can also not get Grasping Thorns.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So it's always going to be Bridge Grab at least. That's really really good. That's definitely a buff for it, because
Sorry.
man, it really broke my heart whenever I got Mana Puff Madness.
Jules is correct. It's perk 1 and 3, not perk 2 and 4. The 2 and 4 cost minion. I
Yeah,
I say
when they-
perk,
Oh, okay. Yes. Perk 1 and 3. Yeah.
I haven't played as much in the past couple weeks, but they didn't add a perk 4. That's good to know.
yeah. Well, technically that's Mana Frenzy.
Right.
Huh?
Right.
That's fair.
Um, so there's a suite of 3 changes here. They are this based on around Armored Scrap, and this also includes a change to Screaming Scrap. So Armored Scrap is now spawns 4 units instead of 3,
Oh.
but they reduce its health from 90 to 60.
Okay.
So Armored Scrat is now a 4 unit, splits 2 and 2, with 30 less health per unit, but ultimately it's the same health across the board for that unit. So the other interesting part of this is,
Daggerfall kills it now.
well, yep, Daggerfall will kill this now, but Bridge
Yeah.
Buddies now always summons an Armored Scrat when it hits the bridge,
Oh.
and if you control the bridge when you spawn it, it spawns a Frenzied Armored Scrat.
Oh, that's neat.
So this is the change, the Armored Scrat change. I don't know if it's too interesting to me. I think the part that I'm more interested in is this Bridge Scrat change here, as I thought Bridge Scrat was just out of being an optimal card for certain decks.
Yeah. Is the extra HP gonna make it worth 2 mana for grabbing the bridges for a spell. I mean, the main reason I use Scrap Pack instead of Bridge Buddies is because Zhao Long is a card.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, is it worth threatening Zhao Long unless you specifically need it for a spell? Like if you're playing a Dragon's Nest deck,
Mhm.
right? That's definitely a significant situation.
Well, and Setsu and Milo also take advantage
Yeah,
of the
yeah, yeah,
spells.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. That's really interesting.
and so the other part of the Armored Scrat changes is Screaming Scrat, which also had 90 health, goes down to 60, because it's technically just an exploding Armored Scrat.
Okay.
And the other thing is, it also,
Oh, he's wearing a helmet though.
yeah,
He should get that extra 30 health. I'm just-
and then it also explodes for 60 damage instead of 100. So that takes it out of kill range on a few units that Screaming Scrat used to knock
Oh.
out. The big one here
Yeah.
for me is Stixie. Used to be hard to play because Screaming Scrat was so prevalent and was an easy tool for knocking out a Stixie.
For me, it was Flightless Dragons.
Hmm.
Oh man, the screen like but I only ever really experienced that against Cat when I came across him on the ladder. Man, his screaming scrat killed my flightless dragons every single time. That was so frustrating.
So
Oh man, but that's significant.
I guess the question with these three card changes, and where do you think these are going to fall in line for competitive scene? I guess Apples, I know you've casted a lot. Where do you think we're going to see a little bit more of the Armored Scrats or the Bridge Buddies coming up?
I'm not really sure about armored strats. I have to look at some of the interactions, like with the increased number and lower health, like what it actually loses to now or beats now, because I'm not sure off the top of my head. I think we'll see more bridge buddies though, for
Mhm.
sure, because that's definitely, even with the health loss, I think that's overall just a nice buff for it,
Mhm.
like especially for Setsu.
Yeah. I think Setsu is one of those masters who's always looking for just an extra spell to throw into the deck.
Yeah, for the reload, especially at
Yeah.
Park 3 if you're just playing to live to get their game.
Yeah.
And since we did talk about Dragon's Nest, we get to talk about the nice Dragon's Nest change here. And so this one's pretty interesting to me. If the spell that you cast costs 5 or more, it will summon a flying dragon whelp instead of a flightless dragon whelp.
That's very interesting. It's trying to tempt out larger spells with the Dragon's Nest deck, but I don't know if it's worth not just running a whole bunch of small spells.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
there's plenty of anti-air in the game, and you know, like it makes it so it's a little bit better. You know, like if you did happen to like have a card already in your deck that costed 5 that was also a spell, you know, that's nice. But I don't think people are going to go out of their way
Yeah.
to create a bunch of 5 cost spell because that'll just be 2 Dragon Wolves.
I think the only
Whatever
5
spell.
cost that was ever really used in that deck would be, I guess, maybe Magma Storm sometimes. And then the Arcane Bolt was pretty popular for as a way to hit the Defenso Chopper that would show up.
Yeah.
That's actually a significant point. The defensive chopper, the counter to defensive chopper.
Yeah.
Um,
That's actually, I don't know. It's really hard. Like, I don't think that's actually gonna make too many like people run Dragon Nest still.
yeah.
But the Arcane Bolt, that's actually a really good thought because Defenso Chopper is definitely like one of those things that shuts down Dragon Nest really hard, right? Like a card by itself that just takes it out. So maybe it makes a little room for it, but I don't think that really matters because when you play Dragon Nest, you're going for those cheap spells normally, and I don't think you can afford to pump out enough big spells in addition to small spells to get a lot of value.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if it was 4, but at the same time, like even if it was 4, I'm trying to look at some 4 cost spells.
Fireball and
You
Lightning
know-
Bolt would have been put into that range. That would have
Yeah,
been really
yeah,
relevant
yeah.
then.
Yeah, that actually that probably would have been a bit more significant than the fireball, especially.
So- The next change, I think Dragon's Nest honestly is just going to be basically the same usage in the meta. It's still going to be a lycanthropy
Yeah.
into spirits.
Yeah, I don't see it change.
Yeah, really,
18
what they would have to do is come out with some more smaller spells to,
Yeah.
to make Dragon's Nest a little more significant.
The other change, just another small change, is ATG Drone goes from 250 health to 275. ATG Drone has basically been an underloved card for its entire life.
Oh, ATG drone! The amount of times I tried to make you work, the amount of times I failed.
It,
I think the problem with the ATG drone is it's a tank that can only be attacked by ranged minions. Like it's not really a tank, but it's like a tanky minion that can only be attacked by ranged minions, right? So the fact that it has so much health is like, yeah, okay, but you're not protecting your minions behind it.
Yeah.
well, I
you're
think,
not like they can just run right under it.
and its vulnerability to air is kind of frustrating when you dump a 6 mana card that doesn't really, like, it still doesn't have a crazy amount of health for 6 mana. I think that's
Yeah.
still the lowest health card at that
No,
cost.
No, exactly. Because if you want to back it up with some sort of anti-air minion, their melee minion is just going to run down there and kill it because you don't have the tanky minion protecting it.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to go down to a 5 mana card for, like, Sniper Squad has less health at 5 mana, but there's not a
Yeah.
whole lot even at 5 mana where the general theme is that they have more health. But it is a flying unit, so it does have
Or
moves
just
on the
another air unit,
vulnerabilities.
maybe.
Oh, I guess Stixie's at 6 mana is the only other fragile unit, but that has stealth and long range,
Yeah.
so it stays out of the combat.
I mean, Pixie is definitely in the whole different boat though, like with the range stuff. Like the closest after the buff is going to be Rabid Prowler probably with like 310.
Yeah. We got a mention from Helgi, who was saying that it would maybe be nice to see ATG go down to 5 mana. And I actually think that would have been a nice balance change if they had maybe lowered its health and brought it into 5 mana and gave that as a King Puff tool.
Yeah, I was about to say. I was just like, yes, give King Puff more tools.
I don't know if I want King Puff to have a lot more tools, but man, I would really like an ATG drone I could actually play because it's
I
one of those
know.
cards that like it's just on that edge where it's not good, and I want it to be so bad because it's it's a cool card. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a little bit afraid of it being good. Like, imagine if it was actually like really, really good. Like, how frustrating would ATG drone be to deal
Well,
with if it was just like solid in the meta?
When you give it that extra 2 range on Stormbringer, it can be a little bit annoying because it's hard to put units outside of its range that can hit it without dying. So, like, Plasma Marines can't safely get near it.
Well, but that's the thing though, is like a card like Shadow Open your opponent's deck pretty much automatically makes ATG drone, like a non-issue.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm personally running Shadow Up just to help me deal with those Empowered Soul Stealers.
I've definitely lost to ATG decks before, but they were like Jinyu running some weird thing, and I don't know. I guess I wish he was still back in the community because he ran some of the weirdest decks out there and would beat you with them and make you look silly. But the next change down on the alphabetical list, and this is probably the one I care most about because it's one of my favorite cards, is Crack Gold Doom Cleaver is going from 9 mana to 8 mana.
Doom Cleaver
Yeah.
is going down to 8 mana, so now it only has to hit twice to become a Cleaver.
Yeah. And it makes it that is quite a huge difference because you're still getting that Cleaver value out of it. It's at 9 mana, like 8 to 9 really felt like a huge difference, and I played it on PTR and thought it was a really strong card at 8 mana, and the decks it built into were really fun.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about this change, but I'm also worried that this card might be too good at 8 mana. But that's
Really?
yeah.
I was, I mean, like, I didn't try it at the 8 mana on the PTR, but I just from my experience with it, I don't think that 1 mana is going to be enough to make it a good card. I don't know. I mean, I probably just because of my lack of experience with playing, I played it a little bit just to try it out, but it just seemed like I would just rather play Cleaver.
It's a different kind of deck. It's definitely you're going for Mortar Reses when you play the Crack Gold Doom Cleaver, and it's a little bit easier to play around when it's 1 mana shorter. It lets your cycle because you're trying to get like something like a Colossus reduced quite a bit to like 5 or 4, and then you just drop a bunch of mana out at once.
Okay, so it's like a big push combo kind of thing.
Yeah. I played a little bit in one of the early PTRs where they tested that to 8, right? And it's another card that's on the change list, but Spawn of Fury, which is also getting changed to 3 mana now.
Yep.
I saw a lot of Crackle Spawn of Fury decks in that first PTR. A lot of people were trying to make that work, and I think between Crackle going down to 8 and that going down to 3, like I mean, obviously as a competitive deck, like there's limitations there, right? But as a fun kind of combo deck, like a nice way to mess around, it definitely has potential, I think.
Oh, I will definitely be memeing three of those in 2v2.
Yeah, the Crackle
Yeah.
spawn deck will
Or
be
6 of those with a buddy of mine.
yeah, do double Mortar, double Crackle, double Spawn. Just get all these things out there, reduce the costs, and see what you can do, and get that free
I'm very
Colossus.
curious how far I could push the envelope on that card.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there'll be some free Colossuses showing up, and you're gonna not be ready for them.
You're like, why is it free? Two Colossuses at once? What?
Okay, so the next change that I'm looking forward to because it's killing a card that I do not like, Empowered Soul Stealer loses marksmanship. First off,
Dang. Oh man, I can play King Puff again.
yeah, and it now starts with 2 souls, and on Rage it gets 4. My question is, why even play Rage with that card anymore? Like, it starts with 2 souls doesn't make.
You're not forced to, but if the Rage was already in the deck,
Yeah.
you know.
I'm not going to play Empowered Soul Stealer over regular Soul Stealer anymore.
No.
I am so happy.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I needed
I'm
that
not
card
sad
deck.
at all.
It will be, you know, like my favorite master to play is Rappo.
Yep.
Yeah, I bet you hate that card.
It's really frustrating with Black Hole. When it hits 10 stacks, I have a hard time clearing it. You know, and I'm usually trying to clear it with snipers in the pocket since I only run like 2 anti-air cards total in any deck.
And then they chain lightning you and then fireball you.
Yeah, it's been probably my greatest weakness with how I deck build.
Yeah, and this new meta, I'm sure all the other Rappo players are really struggling.
Just
I
like
mean, I was
what,
definitely
me,
struggling
Gamer,
against King
and
Puff
nobody
because,
else.
because it outranges King Puff with the marksmanship, you know. And I can't imagine people going, okay, well now we'll just play Stormbringer, you know, like, because it's not going to get the extra health from the Morelia. Also, something to note is the Empowered Soul Stealer will only get 100 health. Oh man, I'm so happy about that deck. Just hopefully it just gets completely destroyed.
I mean, that really is the most meta deck right now that's been appearing.
I see it everywhere.
Soul Stealer deck.
At least one Empowered Soul Stealer.
Sorry, go ahead.
No. I was finished.
Okay, it's part of the reason I haven't been playing much, actually. Like, literally that deck. So seeing it get taken off here is really, really nice.
I think these balance changes are going to be kind of ones that bring a few people back. There's a lot of frustration around the meta. I definitely was feeling it, and there's been times where I had a hard time getting myself to want to play at all when these decks are prominent, especially when you run into a double Lone Wolf, double Empowered Soul Stealer deck on Relia, and it gets the health, and it's super mindless to play, and you're losing to it, and you just it's frustrating to lose to something mindless.
Yeah. It's sort of reminded me of the I'm sure somebody would have figured out eventually, but I put together this Mordar deck with Crystal Construct on my stream, where it was 3 Crystal Constructs, and back when it would reduce the mana by 2 when it came into play, and then when it would respawn, its battle cry would happen again. So in essence, it would make both Crystal Constructs cost 1 mana.
Yep.
And so there was this wall of HP that everybody was forced to go through until the card was changed.
Yeah, I remember you were when that patch came out. I was at work and couldn't play, but I was able to watch some early innovators with it. And I think you were one of the first people to I saw doing that.
That was such. I was so proud of myself like the first 2 days, and then like the third day, I was like, "What have I done? What have I done?
Why would I ever play that? I'm a horrible person."
Yeah, no, it was so bad, man. It was such an annoying meta.
We got another annoying card getting nerfed here, and although the deck has fallen away, it is a Grasping Thorns change. So Grasping Thorns is going to 3 mana from 2, and its health is going to 75 from 50. So it is gonna. So you can no longer kill it with Screaming Scrat due to Screaming Scrat's change to 60 damage. So Screaming Scrat won't explode it. Shock Rock won't bring it down to 10, and Illusory Cleaver won't bring it down low either.
Oh, so they buffed its HP and make it cost more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
so basically, they're going after Call to Arms.
Yeah. Which Call to Arms will be relevant later. We'll have to talk about that a little bit when we get to the Warrior stuff. But Actually, I guess we might as well jump to that now, since the Grasping Thorns changed. I guess first we might as well talk about that Milo deck that existed. I think JF was the innovator of that, and
Yeah.
JF is the Milo god in the game. In
I'm
my
still having
opinion.
nightmares from last night, man. That double black hole Halloween deck. I'm sorry. I
Helgi,
digress. I'm
it will.
gonna.
Sorry, Helgi. It doesn't last longer. The decay rate that it loses health is higher, but when you deal damage to it, it takes away less of the timer. Is how buildings work. So, it's a health buff, not a time buff. All right, so we're gonna go to the warrior changes here. They're a little further down on the list. So warrior is getting 50 more health, which is why we want to talk about Call to Arms, because all those Call to Arms warriors are now 50 more health. So our 3-mana warrior might start to see play, but the other two changes along with this is, so Lone Wolf and Divine Warrior are both warriors, but they're both getting their cost increased from 4 to 5.
Yeah.
So Divine Warrior is going back to 5.
Yep.
Is the invulnerability changing?
Nope.
No.
Thank God. I'm sorry. I had a moment there.
The Divine Warrior change actually makes me really happy. I always felt like when they lowered the cost to 4, even though they lowered that duration, it never felt like it was really a nerf to me. Like, it was still
almost felt
such
like
a
a
strong
buff.
card. Yeah, if anything, it felt like it helped the card.
Yeah.
So that's actually, to me, that's kind of like fixing a past mistake a little bit by making it 5 again.
Well, and this is
It might
interesting
help.
because Lone Wolf, when on its release, was a 5-cost card, and then they nerfed the wolf aspect when they a while ago when they were dealing with the what's the thing that the Moon card, Howling Moon.
Howling
Moon.
When Howling
Howling
Moon
Moon,
was a
seven
problem
cost, yeah.
card, when the Howling Moon combo deck was a problem, they nerfed the wolves on it. And this was because they did the patch where before they completely reworked the card, they just nerfed wolves and changed a few of the bugs around it, hoping that would be enough to disincentivize the deck, and it definitely was not. And so, but then to compensate, they brought Lone Wolf down to 4 mana, which instantly made it one of the most popular rage activators in the game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Man, that card has been so frustrating with the Empowered Soul Stealer, but we all know that.
Yeah, and that combo really does die right here. I mean, the Lone Wolf Empowered Soul Stealer combo that we've been seeing for so long is this is the end of it for
Yeah, because the
realistically.
Lone Wolf is going to cost more. I'm very happy. I'm curious to see what the next deck everybody's going to hate is.
Honestly,
I
this feels like
I
a
know what
real-
it is. Unfortunately, I know 2 that haven't shown up yet, but they're on the radar, and I think people are going to start picking them up. One has actually been around a little bit. It's the Lycanthropy Spirits Setsu with the Ravenous Stormers. That one's still
Okay.
Yeah.
but that deck dies to Defenso.
And Cleaver.
It does not die. Well, okay, I guess you will kill it with Cleaver. I mean, think about that. Because
Yeah.
that one shots the Ravenous Stormer.
Yeah, and Stone Lancers are pretty good against it too.
Yeah. There are some options to play around that deck, but
Yeah,
that deck,
yeah.
if you don't have the right tools, will run over you pretty
Yeah,
easily.
for sure.
And the other thing has to do with Guardian changes. Or Guardians.
Wait,
The Guardian. So when Guardian got reduced to 5 mana last patch and worked really well with Crystal stuff, you can play it pretty well with Escorts and Sentry to create a triple Sentry Guardian push. And it is a skilled deck to play, actually, but it's pretty strong.
Yeah, it's definitely.
I've never toyed around with it.
You should
definitely a
definitely
little bit
look
better.
into learning it. Sorry.
Yeah, it's sort of like I feel like a lot of people that play the game that aren't Grandmaster or at least Master, they're like, oh, Milloween, she's okay. But when you get into Grandmaster and you play against somebody that's really good with Milloween, you're like, this deck is completely broken.
I guess, yeah.
That's so unfair.
That completely captures my very first ever game against Hortex.
Oh, no.
The triple screaming Scrat Milloween player that literally haunted me the entire first month or 2 that I played Minion Masters. Every time I'd play against him in GM, I'd lose so hard, and I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know how to play
yeah.
against this guy at all.
It's really hard to play against. Yeah.
Jumping back to those warrior changes, though, What do you think you are gonna, or do you think the changes to warrior now that it's at 400 health, like just the 3 mana warrior? Do you think this is gonna make you put it in your deck? And how is this gonna compete with Curse Bearer? Because Curse Bearer saw a buff of 10 damage on its auto attacks last patch, pushing it above the warrior range. But does this 50 health now makes it clearly the warrior? Like, where do you
It's
guys
a really
feel
interesting concept. I mean, Warrior was already like one of the best cards to have the werewolf thing on because there wasn't really anything that killed in one hit, except for lightning bolt, but that doesn't really count. I'm curious about because if you combine because you can combine it with the card, it's that new puff, Squire Puff.
Mhm.
If you want to build a Squire Puff deck, that could be a significant change. But I'm not sure if Squire Puff is going to be able to push that over the edge. I am curious about Call to Arms.
Yeah.
I love Call to Arms. I am a bit nervous about the change to Grasping Thorns though, because that's going to make the combo cost 2 more.
But this is going to push you back to just using the wall, basically.
Well, yeah. You basically run 3 walls, maybe 1 Grasping Thorn.
Popping 4 warriors off is now, what, 200 extra health? That's not insignificant.
That's not bad. And like if you hit Call to Arms and then you hit Squire Puff, not necessarily in that order, and then you have all those warriors that are enraged and shielded.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, that's a significant. I did that push for a while, just climbing the ladder, and it's a really scary looking push. As long as your opponent isn't on top of like being aggressive and going after your buildings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was just kind of weird because I never really got into playing Call to Arms, but it almost feels like, well, after they'd made the changes so that Diona and Apep and Mordar couldn't get them on their own building.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Heartbreaking.
So maybe this change will make it a little more relevant, although losing the Grasping Thorns kind of pushes it away again, too.
Oh, yeah, well, losing the Grasping Thorns as well as losing the Mordor Tombstone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that was really the best deck, I think, for it, because you got 2 free warriors out of it once you hit that perk, too. That was very significant.
Apples, do you think we're going to be seeing Warrior in the competitive scene here now that we got a new 3-cost, kind of better bridge control than it used to be in 3-cost tank?
With some of the other changes, I think there might actually be room for Warrior, yeah, with that health buff. For a while, we've seen players like Dirian and JF a couple times, right, have played like older decks and used Warrior actually a lot, and it's still even before this buff, like it's not as strong as some of these other cards that are out now and around, but it's still a strong card. And with this buff, it might actually be worth it, especially with I don't think we've talked about it yet, but the Scrap Pack nerf.
Yep.
Lowering the 1-drops. I mean, that's an extra card spot that you didn't have before, right?
Yeah, I guess we might as well mention this one right now. So Scrap Pack is now 2-cost and spawns 5 scrats, which is
what?
A huge
That's
change.
that's an F.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a big F. Is what that is.
Everybody F in chat for our dead friend Scrap Pack.
Oh, weird. That's gonna make DACA really interesting in the competitive scene, though.
It's the only
if you want to
master
play
that's
Scrap
going to
Horde
use.
and Scrap Pack.
Well, it's actually a cheaper combust target. I mean, but I
yeah.
kind of want the 10 scrats just in case, because 5 scrats is pretty easy to clear in time. Sometimes, like, I'm willing to wait for 1 more mana to get double the scrats.
Yeah, no, I can't. That's the smallest violin right now, man.
The first time I saw it, I was like, yeah, that's a dead card. And I tried to think, like, I had a question for both of you actually about that, because when Sprite was asked about it, when he revealed that on the dev stream today, he said that Scrap Pack has been one of the most consistently played cards in every meta. And I actually wanted to know if you guys think that that's like 100% a bad thing to have like staple cards like that. Do you think that it's good to maybe remove that card from the pool like this?
I don't know if it's either good or bad. I think it's just different. So I think that a lot of people are kind of used to this card, and because I knew this patch, or because I had known this was coming, I actually had dropped it out of my decks for a little bit to play without it. And it depends on what deck you're running. Some decks really use it as a crutch, as this really easy bridge grab. But you can pay 1 more mana for Swarmers if you really need to. There's other 1 costs. It's definitely a buff to Ratbo because it just gives Ratbo, like, the most common control tool in the game now costs 1 more. Is huge for Ratbo, since Ratbo usually, like, that was one of the things that slowed Ratbo down slightly. But I don't know. Okay, so the idea that it was prevalent, I guess, is the first question is its prevalence in every meta a bad thing? And I think I'm going to be with what your opinion, I think you were leaning towards, is that it really isn't necessarily bad to have a card that prevalent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that is how I feel.
I have sort of like a neutral feeling on that as well. It's like, is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. I mean, the thing about Scrap Pack was it was just like, it was so versatile. I mean, it was mostly like I could grab 2 bridges with 1 mana, or grab 1 bridge without having to worry about the aggro of something, because you can pocket it in the corner for 1 mana. You could also, for 1 mana, block 2 cleaver hits. And anything with slow attack speed, really. You know, I am going to miss that card.
Yeah, I think this, like, with these changes, then I think we're going to see a lot more Netherbat show up as the common 1 cost. I mean, Illusory Cleaver will still be a staple in every deck.
Yeah.
I wanted to see the Screaming Scrat nerf really early on, so it makes it feel like Illusory Cleaver is the de facto best 1 cost in the game, though.
Oh yeah,
Well, yeah,
it'll
but
be
I mean,
in every deck.
I mean, think about it. Like, the big part of this is they're reducing the amount of 1 cost cards in the game.
Which I wanted to happen, by the way.
Yeah, like, you mean, like, if they were to have 10 1 cost cards in the game, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I do not want a bunch of more 1 cost. Well, the thing
I'm
is,
not trying to give anybody ideas. Like, I think that would be. I'm pretty sure that would be terrible for the game. There would be too much cycle.
Well, and we don't know what cards they're developing in the future. If they have a
Yeah.
1 cost that they want to design, like, if there's too many 1 costs, that restricts their design space.
Exactly, they're the design space, because
Yeah.
you can't have too many 1 costs. That would be bad for the game.
You can't let somebody have a 10-0 cost in a deck, you know, or 9-0 costs in one big thing. Like, that would be really bad, like, if that existed.
Yeah, because the pure bridge grab, you know what I mean? And then okay, here's my broken card, or whatever card it is. You know, like, that many 1-drops would be really funny with bats, just because it resets the the timer on it.
Yeah, there'd be some things that could be
Yeah.
kind of scary in the game if they existed. I do wanted the 1 cost nerfed a little bit because I thought they were over prevalent, but I didn't.
No, I actually really like this.
Okay, the only reason I like it, and I want to be clear, I love Scrap Pack, and I don't necessarily think it was OP. Actually, it wasn't. It just clearly wasn't an overpowered card.
Yeah,
But
I totally agree.
it's nice to see. Sometimes I like to see the meta shift a bit, and if this brings out decks a little bit slower cycle, or, you know, if it just means that, like, bridge grab you have to work a little bit harder for, I think that'll be interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of room. I mean, I'm in that same spot. I don't think Scrap Pack was like a busted card. I don't think it was played so much because it was just like a busted card.
It's
And
just
I do
versatile.
think that, like, lowering the amount of 1 cost is really good, because I also like the idea of having a bit of a higher curve in general, because, I mean, honestly, most decks are so low curved, right?
Yeah, I play like 2.5 to 2.8 usually.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like, I think.
I like my 4 and 5 cost minions, but you guys know that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, outside of King Puff.
Yeah.
Outside of King Puff, there's
Yeah.
just not a lot of, like, high cost decks like King Puff and Mordar. And
yeah.
that's pretty much it.
Have you ever played 5 Zapet?
Yes.
Yeah,
Of using the
actually, that
attack
was a lot of
speed?
fun.
That's a lot of fun, yeah.
We got a new change that's relevant to 5's APEP is, well, it might be. We'll see. It's the laser turret change. So it's so when I read this, it's gonna sound like a nerf, but bear with me. I'm gonna try and explain it if you didn't read or if you didn't see Sprite talk about it. So basically, laser turret's going from 350 health to 300. Its attack speed is reduced from 1.4 to 1.2, so its initial attack speed is faster. Then its attack speed reduction per attack on the same target is reduced from 0.3 to 0.2. So it reduces its attack speed slower, but it starts faster. And then its max attack speed increased from 0.1 to 0.2 seconds. So it does 200 DPS at max versus 400 DPS at max. So this kind of reads like a nerf, but there is the one caveat is that it gets its acceleration faster. Because it
200
starts at
DPS, like there's nothing that can still heal through that, right? Like you
no,
can't...
nothing's going to heal for this. It's still going to
Yeah.
melt things, but it's going to melt something like a Colossus a little bit slower. It's going to melt its Blue Golem a little bit slower.
The Morelius dragon.
Yeah, it's going to melt those targets a bit slower, but it's going to kill something like 400 health warrior faster. So
Yeah.
it's going to kill those mid-range options a little bit faster. When it switches targets, it's going to be more useful.
Is
Okay,
it?
that's interesting. They're trying to make it not like, oh, I'm taking this in because there's a whole bunch of Colossus in the meta right now,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Is it going to be better than Magma? I feel is like the important thing though, because I don't think people are gonna play it like more than they are currently, unless
No, it's 5
like, better than
costs
Magma, right?
for a defensive building. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, the range is 3 different though. Laser turret has 3 more range.
is it 3? Okay.
It's 8 to 11.
Okay.
I'm looking at the cards right
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't see. I mean, Magma Cannon's pretty niche as is. I just don't necessarily see any building supplanting it, other than like sometimes Ghost Turret is really useful in a Stormbringer list. But I mean, you don't really want to spend 5 mana on a building like that's
Yeah.
just defense.
now. Yeah, because you're not grabbing the bridge back with it.
Yeah.
Right, unless you really need to kill something, or the way that I use laser turrets sometimes in Stormbringer is once you hit that perk 2,
And just sit in the middle.
if you're in the middle of sort of like it looks like they're about to push back, you just pop it in the middle, and it's really awkward for them to grab bridges.
Yeah, with that 13, because then it goes up to 13 range. I mean, these range buildings really have mostly been used on Stormbringer, and then the Magma Cannon shows up on the Folko every once in a while in competitive. I think
For sure.
Florian is kind of the
Yeah.
main guy who's associated with using that card.
I would say that's a very Flaflorian card. When I think Magma Cannon, it's pretty much Flaflorian.
Huh, interesting. I've never had that experience with him.
He's played it on tournaments, and he also,
Okay.
if you look at his ladder deck, I'm pretty sure it has a Magma Cannon in it right now. Him and Combust is the other thing. Okay, the next change, and this one I think is something we all can agree on. Harbinger's speed is going from 3 to 4. Moves a little bit faster. It's easier to kill now.
Oh yeah, I completely agree with that. That was really frustrating to deal with. There was a lot of times before Shadow Wolf was introduced to the game. The Harbinger, I was just like, well, I guess I have to float mana or burn mana, like because I'm not just gonna like give it things to kill and slow it down even more.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like
I think Apples might remember the few times, the times that Croaker X won the KPC and took down Cat. It was all because of a Harbinger deck.
Yeah. Yeah, that card was. I think it's a really good. I think it's a nice way to do the balance for it too, is to increase that speed. It's a nice way to do it instead of like lowering the health or changing some of the other stats. I think the speed's a good place to start because it really opens the door to play around it, especially in the Mordar Harbinger decks, right? Like it gives you more of a chance to deal with it at the right time since it moves faster across.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, no, I really like that change. I mean, Scrat Tank was like a super important option against it. But Scrat Tank is currently banned from tournaments, I believe.
Yep. And actually,
Yep.
I wonder, I guess, we don't know the answer to this, and maybe FFA will, or Jules will know eventually, if the Divine Warrior going up to 5 mana will remove it from that ban list.
Remove it from the ban list. Yeah, I was actually curious if they might have also changed Scrat Tank because it was banned from tournaments.
They did not change Scrat Tank. I was hoping they
Okay.
would. There's no Scrat Tank change in this patch, unfortunately. But
Okay.
there's another change that I do love, is Jumble Jungle is going from 8 mana to 7 mana.
I love that a lot. To me, I felt the card was underpowered. I'm very excited about this change. I'm gonna definitely give this deck a try.
Yeah.
That's
I
a
love
really big
orange
difference.
cards.
Yeah,
I
I
like
am one of the big.
Casino.
Yeah, I love playing them. I know people hate RNG winning games. I feel like for Florian, if you watch this, I know your hatred for RNG, and I think Jules hates RNG a little bit too. There's some people who've been burned by it in the past.
It's a lot of fun to get lucky. It's really crappy to get unlucky.
Yeah.
against you,
Yeah.
especially
It-
when you're unlucky while you're using it. It's like, well, I mean, that happens. I'm playing a meme deck to play a meme deck. When you get crushed by luck, like when you're like not playing the deck, it's just like, oh.
Well, I think just the other night, you and I were playing, and I hit my perk 1 and got combustion rate off of it, right in a combustion spot to kill your Harb. Well, I didn't have a combustion that day.
Literally at perk 1. That's so crazy.
Yeah, it was like the timing was perfect. It's like, oh, I have this, boom, and
Oh, that was so heartbreaking. I was just like, he was running combustion and APEP. I guess that makes sense. He's trying to get to the late game. No, I didn't realize that was your free card. Oh,
Yeah,
that
just
was...
think next patch that would have never happened.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Also, like another example of like a really silly thing that happens. With like a walking blind date gets all the way to your face, and then it turns into a rammer.
Yeah.
That
was
just
that, or when it turns into whirly scrat and you add something in the pocket. That one's
yeah. Oh, dude,
Or
the
God, the
worst,
other one is
man.
the other one is when it spawns a lone wolf when they had nothing else on the field, and you're like, "Are you kidding me?"
Oh, dude, that's next level unlucky. That's
All right,
really
so
unlucky. Okay, sorry.
Maybe I take back what I said about loving RNG cards because there's definitely some room for hate there.
Oh yeah, I mean
but-
it's fun occasionally, to meme a 2v2 especially because 2v2 it's basically impossible to make that balance, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I don't feel at all bad playing 6 out longs in 2v2 or whatever, like just
Oh,
just
yeah.
'cause I think it's silly.
I came back to MM after a break a while back, and my friend and I literally just played 2s, and we specifically played broken Mimi decks the entire time, right? We did the Troubadour Nether Step with the 6 black holes.
Hey,
We
you
did-
brought up another change.
Yeah,
Cool,
actually,
okay,
there you
let's
go.
talk about it. Let's talk about
All right,
it.
Yeah,
sorry.
jump to
And
Troubadour.
then I'll
Troubadour.
tell you about my cancer deck that I warned them about on the PTR, but it came out anyways.
Troubadour's attack speed is reduced from 5 seconds to 4.5 seconds, so it is going to hit just a little bit faster. When it gets
I
to the
love it.
face, it's going to be a little bit more potent. You got to watch out for that big boy.
See, I'm not sure if
yeah.
I love it or I'm like really upset right now.
I don't know. I definitely know. I duo with people like Croaker X who like to run that card and can do some pretty frustrating stuff. So
Mr.
they-
Win,
Mr. Win can abuse it.
Boomer combo, yeah.
Zune Masters Troubadour player. I think there's a lot. The Troubadour players are rejoicing as now they get to do some damage with that card. Yeah,
I love
Oh man.
Thylander is
That's
saying
really
it's
interesting.
about 30 DPS increase, which doesn't sound too significant. And
Right
But-
as they nerf laser turret. Why?
you can still just play Howling Moon in every deck. Reduces health by half. You're good.
for sure.
All right, so I think you have another cheese deck you were about to bring up, which I think is going to be relevant here in a second.
Oh no, it was Rock Rivals. Both players play 2 Rock Rivals, and then both players. Both players play 1 Rock Rival, so there's 2 in the game, and then they both play 4 Hypnotizes. So you play Rock Rivals, and then you hypnotize what they defend with, and then you just chain Hypnotize until you win the game.
All right, so
Yep.
here's the Rock Rivals change that you were leading into on it without knowing it.
Yeah.
The enemy living statue no longer gains rage. So that DPS is now reduced by 50%. Or not 50%. I do math poorly. It's like 30-ish or something like that. 33% less.
Does the blue golem win now?
I don't know. But this will be an interesting change because now you're incentivized to play Rock Rivals to get those blue golems going instead of just...
Oh, for sure. I think that's going to be insane. I feel like really big setup pushes in Ravager are going to be nuts.
So this will be interesting with the Rock Rivals getting buffed for solo and nerfed for the cheese, and the Jungle Jumble change. Because now
Yeah.
Jungle Jumble can get you a 5-cost blue golem, and I remember feeling a little bit nervous about playing those Rock Rivals when you Jungle Jumble, because you're usually behind mana now.
Yeah.
And this might make you feel a little more comfortable doing that. And combining those 2 cards and intentionally throwing a Rock Rivals in there might be worth it too to just get more of that synergy.
Oh man. Okay. Yeah. This is a very interesting change.
Honestly,
I think-
I'm a little bit nervous that it's going to be really powerful. I mean, the cheese is going to go away, but I'm a little bit nervous that it's going to be too powerful, maybe.
Well, I
Yeah.
think Thylander has a good point, is that a lot of people already built around that Rock Rivals pretty well, and were able to clear the living statue as is, like using either Ghost or Curse Bearer or Stun Lancers or Fire Amp
or anything. Yeah.
Yeah, they were already clearing it and getting it to where they needed to.
Yeah.
This will just make it a little bit easier, but I don't think it's going to buff it to an insane level.
Well, what I think is going to happen is it's going to encourage its play more, so it's going to be refined.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I think this card might show up in some competitive decks. It'll be hard to say. It's going to be maybe using it with Dragon Ball, although Dragon Ball is just so out of the meta since it's been moved to 6 mana.
Oh, dude, that card has changed more than any other card that I've seen get changed.
It's one of the most problematic cards in the game. And
Yeah.
I think we have, let's see, how many more? I think we have one more balance change to talk about, and then we're going to go on to some viewer games. So
Right.
there is a change to Wizard Puff here. His attack speed is going from 1.8 to 1.6. So Wizard Puff has seen quite a few buffs in the past, actually. I think it's been buffed like twice now in a row, where they tried to, I think they upped its damage or something like that to try and make it a better card.
That's a significant change.
Yeah,
It makes him viable to be pocketed sometimes, you know, if you're like oh, my opponent's coming to me with a swarm of stuff.
Well,
Usually you play Wizard Puff and Mordar just to try to get him respawn for silliness, but I'm trying to think of other
just for
applications,
reference,
though.
Wizard Puff's starting DPS was the same as a Soul Stealer's starting DPS. Like they had the same initial value. So
Yeah.
now Wizard Puff will go up slightly.
To one spirit. No, I was kidding.
Yeah, basically to go to a one
Or
spirit
one
Soul
soul or
Stealer.
whatever, yeah.
Basically.
Oh man.
I don't.
Wizard Puff.
That card, I think Paco, if he ever comes back, will be very happy about this change. Okay, Thylander
it's
gave us
funny
the
that they're-
numbers and said it'll
okay.
go up to about, he said, I think 37.5 is what he calculated. And Helgi's suggesting it might replace Drone Walker in decks. So yeah, that's so 37.5 DPS is its new number. So it's just like, what is that what is that related to? There's not what other cards are like that? It's almost up to Battle Shihao's initial value. It was already higher than Undying Skeleton. That's okay. That's Tranquil Shihao's DPS. So So Wizard Puff is now doing the same DPS as Tranquil Shihao.
Okay. Shihao? I've always called him Shihu.
Oh,
Like, who is this guy? Alright. Alright, so that's really interesting. I don't know about... Okay, I understand the idea of replacing Drone Walker,
mhm.
but I rarely run Drone Walker in any of my decks anyways.
Yeah.
You know, it's...
Dunk Drone Walker's dead because of aimbot's buff when it got
Yeah,
to Sealer.
well, also because of Fireball seems to be everywhere right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, in fact, I was really sad when they buffed Fireball just because I really love my Legionnaires. And, like, them buffing Fireball that now kills Legionnaires in one hit. Oh, I was so heartbroken.
All right. With that change, I think we're going to move into the last bit where we do viewer games. So anybody, here is the link for the rules, and I can read them out as well. So basically, we have all built decks using the rules. So the rules are you need to have 3 copies of Mana Puff Madness and 1 copy of Mana Puff. Then you also cannot use Spirit Mancer, Blast Mancer, either Soul Stealer, and you cannot use Zhao Long in your deck. So, if any of you guys want to build a deck and take us on, otherwise we'll take each other on in 1v1s to end the stream. And let me quick pull up the Reddit post. All right. Anybody looking to build a deck and take us on? And you guys type /deck in chat with your deck, so that way we can display it for other people to see what you guys have built. And then I'll show off mine as well. All right, Thylander. I need to make it so it displays my decks. All right, I need to go to live scene. There we go.
So you want me to put it in chat?
Yep, just throw it in chat.
Oops. I mean world chat.
Yep.
Okay, there we go.
All right, so we got MANdrewSKI's list here. Oh, he's using the. Ooh. You can see mine in chat as well.
Yeah. Oh, damn you! Damn, you're sunburned.
And then we got Apple's list here. All right, and so if anybody wants to pair up and take on any two of us, you can do that. Otherwise, you can take on one of us and pick one of us as an ally to play. Looks like Thylander's in there. See, I don't know if I have a Thylander on my friends list. I think I can do an invite via Discord. No problem, Helgi. All right, Delta. It looks like you're required to play us at the moment, or Squid. All right, Squid and Apples are going to pair up. All right, we're going to do Squid and Apples versus MANdrewSKI and I. All right, let me do the invites. Oops.
Oh, I accidentally picked Merle. That's fine. I'll stick with Merle. That's fine.
Oh, you don't have to. You can switch your master if you want.
Okay.
All right, so you jump into the invite, and then we can start inviting the other two.
Okay. So it looks like it's you and I, Westland.
Yep. And then there's Apples. Oh yeah, so Thylander's making his deck for Apple, so they'll see our decks and we'll just get caught off guard by them. I think is how we're gonna do this.
It's okay.
I think we can live with that.
It's all in good fun, anyways, right?
Yeah.
So I'm definitely interested in seeing how big these meta changes shift everybody. Or I mean, when we look at the leaderboard right now, I guess we have some time. So Florian obviously going to be unaffected by any of this. Actually, the Scrap Pack's going to go away, and the Screaming Scrat's got nerfed. JF's getting 3 cards nerfed with the Scrap Pack and double Screaming Scrat, but you'll be able to compensate.
Yeah.
But, I mean, these top 3 players are players who don't abuse stuff, though. I mean, it's Tomato, JF, and Florian. Okay, Tomato is a little bit
Tell
of an
me
abuser.
JF isn't abusing.
Okay, fine. They are abusers, but they're not. Okay, fine.
Just because you have to be good to play the deck doesn't mean he's not abusing it.
Okay, fine. Tomato's list is going to go untouched, but D. LaVille's deck is going to... actually, that one's... I've played against D. Level, and his stuff will get not terribly destroyed either. We're seeing these Howling Moons with the Morelia, but these are Morelia players. Shin's deck is going to get nerfed. Orpheus is technically going to get nerfed because the Dragon Whelps won't get the buff anymore, and the Scrap Packs are going to get nerfed.
Well, they're going to get a little bit of the buff, right? Just 100, though?
Yeah. Sanity's deck is getting nerfed as it's an Empowered Soul Stealer deck, and he has the Lone Wolf, another Empowered Soul Stealer deck. Alvis is actually going to be fine with his, other than just the general nerf to Morelia.
As we all sit here and silently judge Das Rotebrot.
Yeah, screw that guy. If you're here, I'm sorry. Oh yeah, the D Warrior nerf's gonna hit Tomato. But you look at like another player who's the Shadow Whelp for I don't really want to say his name on stream. The number 10 slot. He has two cards getting nerfed. I mean, like everybody's getting hit by these changes. The player Drew is other than his. Oh no, he's got 2 warriors. Yeah. Michonne's Harbinger is going to get hit, although Michonne plays a lot of stuff, and I think he'll be fine he's usually a red golem player. Another player that's just playing Morelia. I'm seeing a lot less of the Morelia cheese. Pony will be fine since he's just Blood Imp spamming. Agent will be fine with whatever deck he's running. But mostly just these Morelia changes. Oh God, Portex is doing triple Jolo.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm not sure how much, how much is that going to be affected? I mean, the extra, one being less, you know what I mean? Just like one Jolo with extra health getting to my face is like 50% of my life sometimes.
All right.
Depending on how lucky he gets.
And we get to see Drew in chat taking back to top 10 as one of the few people we didn't rip apart. Thylander has his deck in chat, Apples. You can copy that when you're ready. Wait, you're missing.
That
You don't
out
have
now?
10 cards in that deck, Thylander. You posted a 9-card deck. Oh, it's just missing a Mana Puff Madness. Never mind. You have 3 copies of Mana Puff Madness. It's like a.
Such an
Everyone wants-
important card.
How could you not be running 3 copies of that in all of your ladder decks?
This is gonna be silly. Maybe we'll define the meta here.
I don't
We're
know. I
setting
think
the
this. I have a feeling it won't. I've definitely played some goofy matches where we had Mana Puff Madness and we were not allowed to play cards in the top lane. Was one of the rules. We're not gonna
really?
we're not gonna stick to it this time, but
That would be crazy.
and we had to. It was a lot of Lord Sentinel Delics.
Oh man. All right, apples.
Yeah, I'm getting that. Nah.
Hurry up, man.
Yo, dude, don't rush me. Why you gotta be like that? You're not rush your man. Calm down.
Yeah, I know. The guy's so cool.
And I guess.
Alright, I'm ready.
All right.
Oh, okay. All right. I hope you guys are ready for this because I am not holding back.
Oh well, I hope not because I want to beat these guys. I watch like Squid has like 3 Spirit Mans. He's like, what? I didn't read the rules.
God damn it! I would still try.
Yeah. I went with Diona just because I love the master.
Leads,
Um,
dies.
Okay, there's no way they have Shock Rock, right?
Yeah, they do.
I should have waited. This is fine.
Wait, I know what to do.
Perfect.
See, now we're just like trying to figure out the time to like when we get that hand where we have to play Mana Puff Madness. Oof.
Take that, Puffs. Ugh.
More tech.
I could do this. Hold on, just give me a sec. Wait. Oh no!
Oh no!
Why didn't you wait? Why didn't you wait?
No! Get him, fella! Get him!
Now,
I should just let that go.
Oh man.
Wonder where that's
No.
going. Okay.
Okay. Now time for MANdrewSKI to bring out the silly stuff.
We got this. We got this. Oh wait. Stixie, no!
How dare they?
Hmm.
Fuck it, let's just get them all out here.
It lives! Oh, Demon Warrior, what?
Oh, oh shit, that's chilling, isn't it? Oh no. Oh god, we gotta.
On a bridge, I got it!
Okay, you got
I
it.
got it! I got it!
fill up with lead.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know if I
Okay.
planned very well for this. Alright, save your banner, man. Other guys don't listen to what we're doing.
Is that real? No, it's not. Oh my
Alright.
goodness.
Alright, time to banner man me. You can do it.
I don't have it.
Yeah, you do. It's in
Oh,
your
I
hand.
do.
It's in your hand, Jersey.
I was just kidding. I was just kidding. It was a joke.
You pranked me so hard. Oh no. Damn it, you're too good.
It didn't matter.
I think we're getting Storm Drewski.
No, we got this. We got this.
We got this?
We got this.
Okay. I think this is the end. I think I should have brought like more AoE. Oh god.
Oh, my soul.
I think they have more mana than us. Hold on. I have.
Okay, no, we got this. We got this.
It's easy.
Stop giving up.
Hold on.
Oh,
Look at how many puffs they have.
shit.
We're so dead.
Go, Rebels!
Oh God, he's got his demon warrior.
oh, dude, this is just such satisfying jumps, though.
You know, if we just play enough puffs, they'll never get to phase. Gee, I think we're gonna die here. Oh, here comes Niver and Mercury.
You tryhards. You tryhards. We should have gotten the other guy in chat.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right. Is there any
Y'all-
other?
Y'all gonna play it like that?
Is there any other takers in the matchup? We don't have any other matchups. I think we're gonna. All right. I think it's the end of the stream. So, everybody, thanks for stopping by and listening to us talk about balance changes for almost an entire hour.
It was fun for me.
Yeah, I had a good time.
Like,
We'll be.
I love talking to other grandmasters about balance changes.
Yeah, so we'll try it. I mean, next week we'll have another stream. Don't know what we'll be talking about, what our subject is. Don't know who will be on the show with me either. And don't even know if it'll be Monday or Sunday, but I'll try and make a Reddit post and PM all of you right before the stream so you can last minute jump in and watch us. All right. Anything you guys want to say before we sign off?
No, that was a blast. Can't wait to see you
Yeah.
guys on the ladder. I swear I won't be using this deck.
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna be on in an hour.
All right. Well, everybody who enjoys MANdrewSKI's voice and personality and
I have
other
a pretty
things
good
about
face,
him,
too.
and you'll get to see his face because we didn't get his cam set up. I was too lazy this week, so
It's all good.
in future we'll try and get a MANdrewSKI cam, and he'll get to check out his
Aw. face,
face, and he's got a nice green screen, and we have a nice picture of his logo though, and a picture of an apple for apples. So.
I really recommend the MANdrewSKI stream.
Yeah.
My favorite
Aw.
streamer from when I started playing actually.
Oh, thank you very much.
Definitely one of the places I hang out at frequently because I'm a late night person and we have a similar time zone. Anyways, thank you, MANdrewSKI and Apples, for joining me today. Thank you for all the viewers who came and watched. Play the game on Wednesday. I swear to God, the meta is going to be a lot less toxic. And bring Defensive Chopper in case that Ravenous Swarmer's Lycanthropy deck goes around. All right. See ya.